Ahoy all! Welcome back to the ACs! Kahuna, I guess this week is kind of on a little bit of a Hawaiian time. Hope you'll be in later.
Hail chat.
Hail to the chat. So we didn't get time to watch a movie this week because we're a little bit busy. Had a little bit of barbecue fun going on with a Jerk with Crazy. But yeah, we got some other stuff to talk about. Some stuff about some sexy woman. You know. Some people think so.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Justin, you're muted.
How do? Where's the? I'm just gonna drop out at this rate. Let's see. Readout left a comment that made me laugh. I'm gonna track it down now. He said something about that.
But yeah, I mean, that's besides that. We're going to talk about sex and storytelling, and then also probably get into the romantasy talk. John A. Douglas came out with a video today talking about it and covered it pretty damn well. And it's also a topic we kind of been wanting to cover anyways. So hey, we'll cover it. Yeah. But all right. What do you guys want to talk about first? You guys want to talk about Muscle Mommies?
Before we get into it, I want to say Readout's first comment of the night. The first comment on this stream from Fubar Digital Lounge was, "This is gonna be a cursed stream. I can sense it."
Is it?
And I don't know. There's a chance.
Well, smash the like button to lift the curse.
Yeah, this is out of my wheelhouse, boys. I'll try to chip in here, but you know.
Well, I feel like Justin's just afraid of the term muscle mommy. I don't even know how it came up. We were just like talking about topics. I think AC just mentioned it, and then we're like, Evelyn goes, "Ew," and we're like, "What? What's wrong with that?"
I've never.
And then he was like, "Moms." He was like, "Mothers." Ugh.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Hold on."
Whoa.
Well, yeah.
Well, moms are hot. How dare you?
It's not wife and also mother. You know, if you're children, it's mothers, and I'm just like, it doesn't compute.
After you explained it, it made sense.
Yeah, I've heard the term before, you know, but I mean,
you're still wrong.
I googled it. I had to Google it. I was looking it up on Urban Dictionary or whatever it was, and I'm like, why?
Well, so here's the first thing I'll say is like in live action form, completely underrepresented. Anime, there's some good ones, but when you Google the word, like you're just getting steroided chicks. Like if a girl's arm looks like a guy's arm, it is a guy's arm essentially because there's just so much testosterone shoved into that person's body that it looks like a guy's arm.
Hang on.
A lot of women, if you see them at the gym and they have like excessively big arms, steroids.
All right. There has to be somebody else out there, maybe not in our chat, but somebody of the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that are going to watch this that don't know exactly what this term means. So what you just described is exactly what I thought the term meant. But then I need some clarification. I assume someone else may as well. So please enlighten me. What is the precise definition of this term? Yeah. And is it mama? Is it mommy? Are these different things? Are they one and the same?
It's just mommy. Yeah. I don't look. It's just a fun thing to say, but it's really all it is. They don't even actually have to be a mom, right? Just if they're a woman that's a little bit muscular, that's about it. There you go.
They can hold their own in a physical fight, like Michelle Rodriguez in the D&D movie was a muscle mama.
Favorite. So is it kind of like they don't actually have to be muscular, as in the case they don't actually have to be a mommy either? It's just words that are just
it's just words.
Bandied about.
I mean, they preferably a little muscular. I mean, just to add to the name. I mean, it makes sense.
So it's not fit, because fit is a word I understand. That one makes sense to me. Or healthy, we used to say back in the day, that kind of thing. But you're talking about a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Like she can open jars too. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think we were sharing in our chat like the perfect description is Gina Carano, like especially in her MMA days. Boom.
Yep.
See, I would just consider her fit. She was she was fit, but I wouldn't think
Yeah.
Like
but the thing is, it's like how muscular she was. That's like a woman realistically muscular without like steroids.
Okay.
The problem is, it's like again, steroids are extremely common. It's not just men. Women too.
This is not just steroid mommies. This is like all encompassing. It's the full.
Well, in my story, they're muscle mamas just because they're orcs. They're just female orcs, and orcs are huge. So there you go. Compared to a human, muscle mama. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same with John Douglas's muscle mama. He's got a big
Exactly.
bull, like a big steer woman. You know, like makes sense.
Yeah, she was a giant steer woman. Yeah, that's another reason why it came up with the topic. That's a good example. I can't really Google his book pictures, but he's got one.
Yeah,
somewhere.
is
I've
she like
seen
a
him share it
Minotaur
before.
type character?
Yeah, kind of like a Minotaur, essentially. Yeah, a little just more human face, essentially. But yeah, I don't know. I got some examples. So some people sent you on Twitter's right, AC, about some examples.
I'm kind of multitasking.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I can pull some stuff up, but I gotta stay vigilant.
Yeah, but like I was trying to say before, like completely underrepresented in live action, and that is because like a guy sees like an ounce of muscle, and it's just like they nope out, and it's kind of sad, you know. Especially like, look, Wonder Woman. What the fuck, you know? Wonder Woman. She's supposed to be a muscle woman, right?
In a way, yeah.
It's like way too scrawny for that role. Like way too scrawny.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Wonder Woman's a Valkyrie, right? Or like a daughter of Zeus or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super into all the backstory.
Here we go. Like this is dull guy's arm. But
that's
yeah,
just
like
hey, hon, can you help me get all the groceries? I'm like, you got it.
This is gross.
Where we're going?
But Jessica Biel, boom, right there.
I would just consider that fit. I wouldn't say muscle. I'd say fit.
No, that's more than fit. That's dedication in the gym, baby.
That looks fit to me. I mean, we're splitting hairs, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, definitions are wonky to be fair, but yeah, I mean there is
a fun term that we're just throwing around to fuck around.
Basically, go up to the fit or athletic level, raise it up to like maybe fighter, and then raise it up one more level after fighter, and then you got muscle mama. You know.
Oh my God, that picture right next to Junior Chrono. What the fuck? I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah.
No. I missed that. That's fine though.
I'm not pulling it up. It's fucking.
That is A-okay though. Yeah.
See, some good anime representation. This bunny chick from My Hero Academia. Boom. Awesome. This chick from Fire Force.
We're not seeing the pictures, I don't think, here. We're still stuck on this last screen.
Wait. Oh, just episode. Okay. Boom. Muscle. See, anime is getting a little bit more. Like these are pretty.
You could regard. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. You could regard Toph from Avatar as a type of, because she's like a tough girl, I guess. That would be. I feel like
she needs some kind of meter where this is like roids and this is like in shape, and there's like, or it can lift more than you and like fit, because they occupy the same space, but to me they're very different.
I don't know. You're getting hung up on the specifics. We're just trying to be goofy and stuff, and you're just like, bleh. No.
Well, Superman, by that definition, Superman's not muscly either, because look at how much he can lift. It's just not realistic or healthy to be able to lift that much and for as much as he weighs, right?
Yeah, but he's an alien, so it's like, you know, the rules are different.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the orc. Yeah.
Like I would look at an orc lady and just be like, "That's an orc lady." I would be like, "Muscle mommy." I'd be like,
"Yeah,
orc lady," because the orcs are large.
Exactly.
Oh, the orc, half orc from the World of Warcraft movie. Boom. Bang.
That's fair too. Yeah. Very, very fair. Yeah. Also, make Kahuna in the chat. Justin is right, he says.
But he gave me a kissy winky face, so I don't know what that means exactly.
Well,
thanks for joining us.
He's also not here to argue, so disregard that.
he said he's too sick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I appreciate. That's all right.
He's too sick. He saw our tweets and he's like, "Fuck no, I'm not going on." I'm not even watching the movie.
No. I totally get when people are like turned off by it, because it isn't. First off, it's not natural. Second, it's not like the norm that like biological men aspire to, you know. So I get it, like visually and aesthetically, and I mean, But at the same time, Justin, I bet if your wife became a muscle mama, you got all that sweat dripping everywhere. Oh,
No.
she'd have to beat you off with a stick.
Oh,
She'd have to
Lord.
beat you up with a stick. I'm sure. For sure.
I'm just going to finish this up, too. People have different tastes, and I have mine, as I think I've kind of stated, and other people have theirs. I think it's a little strange, but, I mean, some people think my taste in music is a little strange, and that's fine.
Well, some people say in order to
No ill will.
survive the Iron Seas, you need a little bit of muscle. So that's where I think on this channel, officially stating pro Muscle Mommies. This is the MMA Muscle Mommy Appreciation.
Do they sink or float?
Most of them sink.
Where is it?
They sink because they're so dense.
Yeah.
They're so dense, they sink. Yeah.
They sink, but metaphorically, it sounds like I'm outnumbered.
Swing, swing.
Sounds like they float. This is way better than watching and talking about a movie.
I agree.
So for the record, Justin's taste in music is unique. Oh.
Thank you, Bob, for being kind.
Oh, he would love my taste then.
Yeah. Well, so here's the truth, right? It's like guys, just typically speaking, girls stronger than them, that's going to be unattractive to them, right? So that's why they're underrepresented in our media. But it's quite frankly, it's bullshit, right? Because if you're going to have Wonder Woman be cast, you shouldn't have cast Gal Gadot. No, she's a string bean.
Sorry. I think that they do make good teammates and things, because if they're just as capable as the guys, who cares? I think that the muscle mommy trope is I'm attracted to her, not like she can pull her weight, she's part of the team, because I get at that aspect. That doesn't bother me. It's whenever it's the romance aspect that I'm a little bit like, I mean, that's fine.
You're saying it comes off fetishistic. It's like a fetish.
I don't want to call it that. I think it's just more of a preference. That word to me is a little bit. I feel like that word's a little bit overused. I think
it's very dark, or not dark. Sorry, it's very extreme. Yeah.
Yeah, people have different tastes, but I guess I don't. Again, in storytelling, if you have a character that's like this big, muscly powerhouse that can help fight, maybe she's stronger than some of the guys. Maybe she's an orc. Maybe she's this Minotaur lady. Maybe she's Wonder Woman. That's fine. But I do agree with you that if you have a character that is supposed to be strong like that, you should have a woman who actually is built and looks the part and can play the part, to your point about Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
But I guess what we're trying to get at is, though, that just because she has some muscles doesn't mean she can't also be sexy. But it's going to deter some men. So therefore, what happens is people get scared. And they're like, "No, let's just get a string bean chick to play Wonder Woman." Well,
that's it. It's time.
Heresy.
It's time for chubby Superman. Forget Henry Cavill. Get out of here. Goodbye. Dean Cain, Christopher Reeve. No, we need chubby Superman. That's what
body positive Superman.
That's not what we need. I'm kidding, but you understand what I'm getting at.
Yeah, the right person's supposed to write. I mean, really, honestly, like almost every superhero chick should kind of be a muscle mommy. Honestly.
Yeah, I think they should.
And I will agree, Emily. The more I say it, the more I start to cringe at the term.
To me, it's one of these words.
Yeah, same.
If a grown man is talking to a toddler and they say like tummy or yummy or mommy, I'm like, I get that. I know it bothers me a little bit, but you're talking to a kid, or if you're talking like, hey, little kid, where's your mommy? Are you lost? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. But if it's like grown guys hanging out and they're like, yo, mommy, tummy, yummy, I'm like, ugh. Like, I don't know. It bothers me. But
we're just mostly saying it for the memes. And mostly it's just like, if you just say quick once or twice, boom, you're done. You're good.
Yeah.
Right?
In and out, 20 minutes.
It over and over again. It's like, okay, what are we doing here?
What do we? I've said mommy too many times today.
I know. So disregarding the term, let's just talk about just fit.
The idea. Yeah. Like, so
idea,
Toph.
Right. Yeah.
Toph from Avatar. Okay.
It's
so
just like Toph's too young, right?
Accent.
Well, here's the thing. The Avatar writing team was very aware of the muscle mama trope, and they wrote Toph as the muscle mama, okay? But they did it in an unconventional way. Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I think the concept art for Toph was the boulder, or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that would have been lame.
That
would have been super lame.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, they just flipped that trope, the strong person. They flipped it on his head, and be like, well, let's make it a blind, like the most helpless person.
A little blind girl. And she's got muscles in the sense of her bending. Her magic power is so strong that she's got bigger muscles than the guys, right? That's the idea. So she can bend metal, spoilers, where other earthbenders can't. She like figured that out. So yeah. My whole point, it's an unconventional take on the muscle mama trope, and they knew what they were doing. They like inverted it and then gave her an unconventional way to still be stronger than all the boys.
Yeah, talking about Avatar, man, they overdid that now because Legend of Korra, it's pretty much all you had. Specifically Korra too.
You just reminded me, and not to go on too much of an aside, but there was a debate, a live debate on the topic of Korra at the Iron Age of Barbie
for like 2 seconds, and there was gaslighting had occurred. Extreme forms of gaslighting occurred. Where they're like, oh no, like it was explained in this bullshit. Bring up the fucking clip. There's no way any of like half of the shit that Roy said ever fucking happened. He's just like, oh no, like see, like I watched it. No shit, I watched too.
It was so entertaining, and I'm very happy that it happened. As soon as you brought it up, I was like, here we go. Like,
no, I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up. My wife brought it up.
Oh, that counts.
Because she's an antagonizing asshole. And she knows. I'm like the guy, like if you like bring something up and it's a sore topic, I have no ability to refrain myself. I will start ranting about it. I have no control in the matter. Like somebody brings up Helen Keller.
Oh yeah.
Go off on
Helen. There was also a discussion about her that was also pretty entertaining. That's correct.
Yeah, we look. More will occur. Animation overload. More will occur. But basically, let me just rehash what had happened there. Essentially, it was said that in the first season, that's kind of all we talked about. The villain over there, like, see, he blocked off only the 3 chi spots of the elements, but not air. So once all the 3 chi spots were blocked off, that allowed her to use air. I'm like, where was that said? You made that up. You made that up. It's never said. She literally airbends, and then the next thing that happens is like whatever character's next to her goes like, how'd you do that? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, so that's what she's saying. How are you then explaining the chi things? Because nowhere in that does the show ever explain it. Ever. So
I haven't seen
I'm just doing a general douche impression.
It sounds like your Korra sounded like Keanu. How'd you do that? Whoa, I don't know.
Well, because she sounded stupid when she said it. Because that's the only way to deliver that. She sounded stupid, so she gets a stupid impression. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Back to the tone woman thing. And now I kind of hate the trope. I'm flipping.
Oh, here we go.
Right. Muscle mommies suck, because that's what Legend Core was. And most of those women were muscle mommies. I fucking hate that trope. Get rid of it. Keep it out of our
face.
Look, you never know what's going to happen on the show, guys. I just watch live me flip. I'm not some guy that just sticks to one opinion and never changes his mind. All right, I can't be convinced otherwise.
You've seen it here. By the way, I'm surprised your bus is empty.
Not enough muscle mamas.
Yeah, I don't want to put people that I have to like look at, like even having Destiny on here. It's like, fuck, man, I don't want to look at Destiny. Like,
he's like standing behind you. It's like, yeah.
I mean, like people that like deserve to be on this right now. I'm like. Like it's not even. It has to be like particularly funny, I can't.
All right, fair enough. Don't over you. Okay. I always look forward to see who's in there, because it's always like, wait, who's this? Hang on one second, and then they like show up, and so I was waiting for it. But fair enough.
But yeah, the muscle mamas probably worse when there's sex in the story, right?
Yes. Well, let's transition.
Yeah.
Not like some muscle moms. Let's Or I guess liked some Muscle Moms.
Yeah, that's like the majority of the real life ones. Yeah. But yeah, sex scenes and storytelling. A lot of people, I mean, I kind of lean towards this camp too, where it's a little unnecessary. I don't have like people like George Martin, for example. He'll be like, "How can you understand the life of the dwarves if you don't watch a bunch of dwarves fuck?" And then I'm just like, why do I need to watch them? You can mention it. You can offhandedly mention it. If they got a weird quirk with their lovemaking, you don't have to like describe the entire scene, for example. Their breeding habits. Like for my case here, my reptilians are able to be sterilized by removing the tail, which doesn't make sense in real life. But these are fictional creatures, and I'd imagine humans are smart enough to do some sort of surgery after that, right? But I don't like go on into the surgery and describe everything and like talk about stuff. I don't know. The logic doesn't hold up for me. But go on.
I understand what you're saying, but also, okay, you have dragon characters. So these are kind of like I forget the race in Skyrim. They're not too dissimilar from like the reptile people, correct? Is that fair? Yeah. Okay. So they lay eggs, right?
They do, not mine.
So are they like
not
humans before, or is there like an egg and then like the dude like later? No. Is it like frogs?
Oh, with Skyrim?
We don't need all the details, but I'm like, wait, how's it work? I'm kind of curious.
You're talking about Skyrim? You're talking about Skyrim?
Well, I'm talking about your book, because you're a writer. So you're not writing these scenes, you're writing about the tails being cut off. But I'm, part of me is like, if you were George R.R. Martin writing your story, and you're like, no, you gotta know about how to lizards have to do their relations. If that was it, I don't know how he sounds.
Something like that. Yeah.
So they just like, are they like, hey, what's up? And they hand you like an egg, and you're like, nice, or is it?
I looked this up, and there's a lot of I had to look at the breeding habits of lizards. Yeah, dude, it's crazy where writing takes you. But
Well, what King Bob says here, right? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Almost all sex scenes are unnecessary and just lazy writing and a cheap way to gain attention. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Before we get to that, let me just say, they have babies like us, just like us. They have live birth. And there are many lizards who do this. Snakes, for example, there's some snakes. I believe garter snakes. I once caught a garter snake and put it in my fish tank, and I was like, "Your name is Caesar," because I'm a little boy. I named it a boy name. All of a sudden, Caesar pumps out a bunch of babies and eats half of them.
Oh, yeah, geez, that's traumatizing.
And I'm like, whoa. So we separated Caesar and tried to raise the little baby snakes, which are adorable. They're like this big, a little baby snake. It's a live birth. But yeah, that was one example from my childhood that I could have remembered, but I didn't remember it until I looked some of the stuff up. But like a lot of reptiles have live birth. The egg thing is interesting.
I gotta make myself a note to look this up. Sorry, Bats, go ahead.
Well, I mean, like sci-fi or even just fantasy. More in sci-fi, but it's like the first thing I always ask, even the one we're doing, creating, it's like the first thing I ask is like, how does reproduction work for the race?
Yeah.
But at no point we're like, let's describe the way they reproduce. Like, no.
And the sounds they make, and
like how it could happen. It could be important, but also it's like, okay, but dwarves, I'm just gonna assume they have sex like the normal way. Like, you need to hear or see it.
But what kind of music's on in the background? Are they putting like bagpipes or like jar and some gut bucket or something? Like,
well, even like a mention of that's fine, like that'd be a little interesting tidbit. But like again, we don't like it's like what is it, Top Gun? I might get some heat for this, but like Top Gun, like you're watching a movie, you're like it's cool, then all of a sudden they just the music starts and they start banging it out, and it's like
okay,
or
James Bond. Bond too. Yeah.
But I do want to I don't want to go too far. I do want to state, guys, remember
boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history: the First Amendment and boobs.
One of the most uncomfortable sex scenes I've ever seen in anything, and it's a good movie. This scene still to this day, in the older I get, I'm like, what the is Big with Tom Hanks? where he's
I
like a
don't
kid.
remember a sex scene being that. No,
There is, dude, and he
I haven't seen that movie in
grabs
so
her and
long.
stuff, and I'm like, whoa! As a child, I don't remember this at all. This scene was just, I was probably like, ew, and looked away, and the rest of the movie was just like fun. Rewatch it, you're gonna be like, how did this get?
Yeah,
They filmed this. Who let this go through? And then you're like, oh, it's Hollywood. That's okay.
Tinfoil hat time. Tinfoil hat time. When
Tom Cruise or not Tom
when
Cruise.
special Tom Hanks, right? You
Yeah.
said Tom Hanks. Big.
Hanks.
Yeah. When Special Childhood Fun Time Island was discovered with all the celebrities and stuff, and you know who didn't delete himself? After that, Tom Hanks fled the country.
Oh, really?
Take that for what you will. Yeah, yeah. And
yeah, he went to Greece, where like pedophilia
is he still there?
Pedophiling.
He might be
pretty common.
I haven't heard of any movie
Reduced
since.
sentences and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then you combine that with the thing that you just said about Big. It's like, ooh, icky.
It's like, what was it? Umbrella Academy, one of the seasons. It's like, okay, like I got a lot of shit for like mentioning that this was gross when somebody's like, oh, I like the show. Because it's like one of the kids was like 17, 16 or something like that. The time traveling kid. And then like there's like the unnecessary scene of this chick like fighting him, and she's completely naked. We don't get to see her tits, which is like, okay, what's the point? Okay. But she's naked, and she's obviously fighting naked right in front of this dude, and she's like 30, and it's like, why would you? Can't you just be like, hey guys, I'm not gonna be naked right in front of this kid. Like I don't want to.
Oh, yeah, like a 16-year-old kid. Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I get it. He's probably seen boobs before, but it's just like as an adult, it's just like, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not. Like if it was a guy, 30-year-old guy, and it was a 17-year-old girl, I'd be like, no fucking way, no fucking way you're gonna be.
Isn't that funny?
What movie was this?
It's a show, Umbrella Academy. I forgot what season.
The dude from My Chemical Romance made it.
Waited?
Yes.
I think she watched half of the first season before she was like,
That's about the first season was pretty good. They made a drastic change at the end to keep Ellen Page in. She was the big actress, and then dude, it was so funny because like I actually reacted to this. It's a video that's not on my channel anymore. But like I remember like me and my wife, and I'm like watching this. I'm like, dude, Ellen Page looks terrible. Like she looks just ghostly. I'm like, why does she look so bad? She's not that old. And then it was like that like right after it released, she like a couple months later or so, she came out as trans. And I was like, oh, that's why she looks like absolute shit. And it's not like masculine features are coming through. She looks sickly. Like just some like Joe Biden essentially.
You're suppressing bodily functions with drugs. Like, you're gonna look sickly. Like it's
so these are examples not only of like unnecessary scenes, but also like what the kind of scenes, like way beyond. Because that's what I think it was Animation Overload said. There's like explicit versus implied, and this isn't. It's even beyond explicit. It's just like, who signed off on this? Like, what team of people all agreed that this should be in the movie, and then the actors and actresses agreed, like, sure, I'll do this in front of a room full of strangers with cameras and sound equipment and put it on a screen that millions of people will watch and somebody's parents. Like, how in the hell did that get passed through all of those layers and end up on a screen for the masses? It's unbelievable.
Side note, the sex scene in 300 is a real sex scene from what I hear.
Gross.
So they're actually banging. And the queen is freshly divorced in that movie, I believe. So that's like revenge porn right there, right at her husband.
So that's extra necessary.
Like super. I mean, you got to give it to 300 though. That was a man. Okay, so there's a lot of things about.
I'm going to do the exact opposite, actually. But go ahead.
There's a lot of things about 300 that was like artistic in a way. I know, like. That would be one sex scene that I would deem is not the most unnecessary, personally, because it's showing you how much he loves his wife. It's showing you stuff. It's driving home this idea of like husband and wife. We're both a team. You know what I mean? But not necessary.
Fake guys doing fake things. I mean, as Gary calls them, adult pretenders. You're like. But this one scene, it was like that. I don't. To me, I'm like, it's no different than
chose to write it in here.
Guy in a green screen or something. Like, would it be awesome if they're like, dude, that scene where he cuts that guy in half? He really cut a man in half. That's how much they care about the art. I'd still be like, hang on. Like,
seems a little far.
You don't need to like. It doesn't have to be real. It is a movie. Like, it's just a big magic trick for your eyes. I don't know. I think it'd be funnier if you're like the whole thing. They weren't even in the same room. It's just tons of green screen. Like that would be even. I'd be like, wow, that is art. That's really hard to do. Actually, as a CGI artist, to have them.
They just tracked. They just use tracking, like South Park tracking.
That would be as. I've done a little bit of that kind of stuff. Like that would be impressive.
Yeah.
In fact, it's actually poor acting because they're just doing it. It's not even acting at that point.
But yeah, that would be one of the sex scenes I would point to that isn't the most unnecessary, but it still is in the scheme of things because like it's not in the original material, for example. There's not like a crazy sex scene in the original 300 comic book. There's not. It's just a fact. In fact, the wife isn't even really there, to be honest. But
I didn't care when she was on screen at all. Like we only cared when the muscle mommy men were where they just abs and all. Like just,
the objectified male
on this one apple.
Yes, manly.
Yeah, we're gonna lose, and it's gonna be awesome. Yeah,
we're gonna lose in the most cool way ever.
Yep.
I that's a good example, right? And I kind of agree to an extent. Like, it's definitely not the most unnecessary use. At least it did have like a thematic reason tying into the story. But again, like Justin said, it's like, well, they wrote it. They could have not written it.
Yep. And it's not in the source material. So
yeah, to me, that's somebody who's on the set that's like, no, I need to see this. And there's
and
evidence of Hollywood that's the vibe. To me, I interpret it because as it was said before, implied, you just have like an extra shoulder and like a bra strap slips off, and then it fades to black, and then it's like the next morning and they're in the covers or something, and we get it. We understand what happened. So to me, for it to be like, no, we need this young girl to be on set. Yeah, we need this to happen. That's like some dude that's like, yeah, we need this to happen. I need this film so I can.
Well, it's imagine this: porn sells. So sprinkle a dash of that in there, and
essentially, that's what it is.
Essentially, that is. And I literally heard, and this is the cringe of shit, but I've heard it from multiple men that they didn't care how bad Transformers was. Megan Fox is hot. I'm like, okay,
retarded.
Like, imagine if she showed her boobs in that movie. Like,
to a broader point.
Think that's what I was thinking. That's what I was real quick, Justin. This is to your point. Like it's the people on stage saying, I want to see this. Right. And I think a lot of that is Gerard Butler going hard, deadlifting 300 pounds for like a month at a time. And the other chick, Queen Cersei, probably doing similar athletic routines. And then they're like, oh, there's a sex scene. Well, let's actually fucking do it. You know what I mean? Because think about it. She's freshly divorced. Gerard is.
I would still on set be like, guys, we're just gonna pretend we're actors. We're just pretending. If you want to call
the perverts
offset, it's your
It makes me think of Dennis from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like when they pitched the movie idea, just guys, we're gonna show penetration.
Oh
no way!
Start clapping like
Brilliant. Never heard it before. Brilliant. I mean,
and then there's Justin in the there's Justin in the back. Like, is that necessary? And then it's the meme of the guy being thrown out the window. Like, yeah.
But yeah, no. Like, hey, this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I mean, it makes me think like with how sex sells. I mean, like that's why I just recently was like, hey, AC, he should probably get like a. I think that's how the muscle thing started. I was like, you should get a cover art. Of,
that's
like,
right,
lady.
Yeah,
and it's like because it's gonna be because like how many of these like even in the indie world like how many of these comics are actually getting good numbers? It's like literally just because they have a hot chick that's like pretty much nude on there. It literally you could see it. Their last campaign or something like that doesn't really do well, and then stick a hot chick on it instant. So,
and that's because like a minimum of like 70% of comics is male audience, like minimum. Like
in
it's a
general,
lot.
I mean, if to your point about artistry and artworks, we like to see things that we consider like beautiful in the classical sense. This is a reason why I watch movies, and if they take place in cities, I'm immediately like, this better be a damn good movie because I'm looking at concrete buildings, unless it's like awesome architecture. If it's like cathedrals in Europe or something along those lines, or like cities built on coastlines, there's exceptions. But if you're in like a sewer in Chicago, you got to do something special to hold my attention compared to a movie that takes place in like Alaska or something. Like there's beauty in that level. And then of course the actors themselves. You know, if you have who the ladies like, Cavill's popular, Thor, that dude.
Yeah.
Like you
The
throw him in
object.
there, of course people are like, oh, well, he's handsome. You
Yeah.
know, I get that. That's totally fine. I understand. But I think there's a line between people appreciate beauty and then going too far with it. I think that's, again, that gets back to the whole explicit versus implied. I think there's a way to have good looking people on there so that they can be like, I don't even care if the movie sucks, man. I'm just there to look at a pretty girl.
Lame. I could look at my wife. I could look at my
Well,
wife.
yeah, not everybody is, you know, a married
I mean,
fella, and there's some young guys
guys.
out there that just want to look at a pretty girl and have something to
Yeah.
aspire to, and you know, all
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna.
Yeah.
I understand the mentality behind wanting to have beautiful people.
Sam!
Don't you talk about Megan that way? Don't you dare!
I'm just gonna
Megan, are you
watch the
watching?
2-hour movie and look at the pretty girl.
That's how simple men are,
Brie
though.
Larson's so hot.
That's
I
not
mean-
with guys and girls. There's, you know, girls that would go watch like did Magic Mike have a great storyline.
Every
Or,
movie with every movie.
whatever it was.
Whoa,
with
you
the-
coming
the
for my man,
billionaire
Mike?
guy. Was that
Whoa.
story really
50
great?
Shades of Gay.
That's
Yeah. You know, and like every romantic comedy where cheating is the center of the plot for some reason. All female audience. It
Well,
sucks.
okay, let's have a slight transition here where we
Yeah.
talk about romanticy, right? Because well, you mentioned Magic Mike, which is you know, female
There's magic
audience.
in that movie.
That
That could be a whole romantic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
I
literally
wanna-
Magic Mike put Channing Tatum in a little wizard hat and another
Yeah.
little wizard hat. Maybe not. No. Too
Oh
too
my
far.
God. I need to troll somebody about the magic system. I need to like inquire about the magic system to somebody who's like a
It's
Magic Mike
every
lover.
crunch builds his mana meter.
Yeah,
Has 1,000
something.
crunches, you can cast one spell the next day.
So wizard battles consist of two buff dudes just doing sit-ups.
Dude, this actually sounds like kind of a cool video game premise.
And then-
like, you gotta
yeah.
hit the gym and eat right to do magic.
And then
These
it's
two
like
guys
Wild
worked out,
West.
man.
That's like Wild West. You jump up, whoever can do all the crunches and jump up first and zap them with finger guns. Like boom, there you go.
Well, you guys remember the Arrow?
The show?
The
The TV show?
CW? Yeah, you remember
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy playing the Arrow every time? Like every episode showed him using the pull-up thing and just. You
I
don't
don't
remember?
Didn't watch it. I was aware of it, but he
Oh.
was always doing
Yeah, yeah.
pull-ups.
I mean, that pretty
He
much
was-
sold the Arrow right there. No,
It
he
was
was
just
like doing
pull-ups?
this pull-up thing where it was like levels, and he would like pull himself up and then like in the air latch on and kind of climb. You know what I mean?
Is it like where the pegboard?
But one straight bar,
Oh,
and there's
wow,
like
that's
hooks
impressive.
out.
And you
Yeah.
really did that?
Straight,
wasn't-
yeah, like every
You
single
really
episode.
Now that's artistry. There you go.
Every
Like,
episode,
every-
yeah.
That's actually hard.
Well, you call it Magic. You're not saying Magic Mike isn't artistry? Are you
You know-
serious, me?
I don't know.
You know the armbar thing is relevant because it's in every episode. You know it's important to the plot. Like they had to have. I mean, this is why House of the Dragon is deleting an entire character, right? Because that's clearly not important. But the arm bars of like Arrow, oh, keep all those, Hollywood. You got to sell them arm bar jumps.
All right,
And
we
put
have a
pull-up jumps.
request. Let's see.
Oh, request.
we have a
uh-oh.
request.
We're getting a
Uh-oh.
Where is it?
request?
Where is it?
We take requests. Free
Yeah,
bird.
sometimes.
Man, I don't care for that song.
Yeah,
The solo's too long.
I don't know what we're watching here. Might get demonetized.
Who is this from?
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
You cut it out. You cut it out.
Really?
You cut it out. You
I
cut it
don't like her.
Helga,
Oh no!
no.
Muscle Mama.
Oh my god!
Not too heavy, not too light.
Yeah.
Bud Light. The
Oh my
difference.
gosh, man! These
See,
old
and this is why I
were
put
in,
on the
they were
Muscle
all
Mommy
like
thing.
insane.
You can see the hint right here, right? Bud Light. What do we know about Bud Light? Bud Light's
Buds,
gay.
dudes.
Bud Light's gay.
Yeah, a lot of dudes touching each other. Yeah.
Come on, dude.
There's so many commercials from that time period that are just like that. There's one where girls
Yeah.
are like drinking and then they're fighting and wrestling in a shallow fountain and they end up in like wet cement. And then it goes to the
Oh, no.
guys talking about it and their girlfriends were like, who would like that commercial? And they're like, and then it's like, drink whatever beer we're selling. It tastes terrible.
Drink this beer.
And we promise, if you think about this, maybe it won't taste quite as sad. But anyway.
Right. It tastes like sadness. But like, yeah, what gave me the idea for the sex scene thing is all the hype that was around this recent. It's a small reason, but like all the hype that was around this recent episode of House of the Dragon. Everybody was talking about how there's this crazy, like there's a sex scene. Everybody assumes it's going to be crazy scissoring between two ladies, and then it's just like literally right at the end they just like kiss a little bit. It's like, oh, dude, the internet is way too crazy about this shit, man. That's what made me realize.
I mean,
I was like,
in fairness, I mean, Game of Thrones kind of set the standard, so it doesn't surprise me they were expecting it to be like the whole.
It's like it was like everybody who saw the episode though, they were like, oh, a new dragon rider, and then they show somebody who's like who can't be one. It's like, okay, somebody gets ridden. I get it, okay, but then there was actually no riding. I'm not even complaining. I'm just saying like the internet is so ridiculous about this that they exaggerate it. They turn girls kissing into like. It was like, oh, crazy sex scene. Like I said, I went into it just half expecting Game of Thrones to go full Game of Thrones, right? Yeah. And just like literally showing them going at it, you know what I mean? And it didn't happen, which I'm glad.
Well,
I've seen the
Uber Christians kind of comment on it, like, oh, LGBT stuff, and it's like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah, it's a sinful kingdom, man. The whole world is sinful in that world. So
yeah,
like,
no shit.
There's gay people everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. That was a little nuts. But
and the thing is, it's like, I mean, I understand it on one hand, being like, I don't like that thing, but it's like, just don't watch it. Like, I just don't watch it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I'm over here trying to talk to
you're already
Justin about
watching
this.
it, and it's something you enjoy, and it's like they're like, what, the incest didn't like scare you off?
Right. Yes, it did.
Like
that's precisely when I tapped out.
Well, exactly.
Like, what the people love this? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. But no, like the incest, the gay sex that happens in Game of Thrones, all this stuff, but then the two girls kiss and you're out. Like, I mean, that's a little gay, honestly, if you ask me.
Exactly. Well, yeah, like everybody was like playing it up like it's a big deal, and when I saw it, I'm like John Travolta in that GIF, like looking around, like what's the big deal?
That I, as a child, thought would be a thing, because if you go back in time to whenever we were kids growing up, I think you guys too, with cable, you turn on a movie on TNT that was originally rated R and it's on in the middle of the day, they have it edited and they cut scenes and they dub it over, you know, instead of calling somebody an MF, they'd call him like a, hey, maggot farmer or whatever.
Right.
Or was it Weird Science? I kicked him in the guts and called him a bragger, like that sort of stuff. I had bet that streaming services, I thought Netflix would have been the first, that they would have that TV censorship, whatever, where you could take anything and be like, make it PG-13, make it PG, make it G.
Wow.
And they would just cut and edit and dub over. And it would have been this
idea.
whole thing where you could watch like this, watch Game of Thrones, but make it rated G. And it's just this edited mess. And it's like, what is this? So I'm not saying that they're censoring the actual thing. You can go watch the show as it was made and meant to be seen, although they do censor stuff, even things that are like The Simpsons and whatnot. But if you're like, you know, my kid, I would love to be able to talk to them about this, but they're not ready for it. They're a little bit young, but they can still get the themes and the ideas and get the story of this world or something without having those excessive scenes instead of just fast forwarding or whatever.
Game of Thrones is kind of a bad example of that. Like,
sure, I'm going
way too much. Game of
Thrones is a bad example.
I will point out,
you know what I mean?
I've had Magic mic up on the screen.
I know, and I've been playing and be like, maybe he'll forget and just
I just say, like, we're way past it, but I don't know how you can claim this is not art.
I never made that claim.
Wait, doesn't this dude play D&D? This dude plays D&D. He's famous for it, right?
What is
it?
No,
we were actually
you mean Dungeons and Dragons or something else?
Yeah. Oh, I mean Dungeons and Dragons, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Well,
he plays like he dances.
Yeah. I think it's more of a corporate thing, but he did
Matt
do
says
some
he
cool stuff.
does! Exclamation.
See,
I play Ellis.
the players know. The players know. He has a badass character, man. Not gonna lie, it's a Dragonborn.
Oh, his
so.
name is Joe. This is John
me?
John Douglas
No,
here
I
confirming
play-
Joe. He knows him, I guess.
Joe
I
Manganiello.
think people know my name's Joe at this point. It's on my boat.
Oh, I thought he meant the guy who was dancing was named Joe.
No, his name's Joe.
Oh, yeah. No, he's Joe or not Abercrombie. Joe. Yeah, no, his name is Joe, and he does play a lot of D&D. He's big about it.
He made one of his characters is canon to the D&D universe now, so that's cool.
Kahuna's got a good line there about my take on Game of Thrones. It says Justin's ideal Game of Thrones. They cut off his cork, and then they raved him.
Then they raved him.
Safe for work.
Until he was happy.
But
yeah. They cornered him in a
Anyways,
back alley and gave him candy.
Yeah. I got so distracted because I was waiting to play the Magic Mike clip, and it just got so stale at some point.
This is a Magic Mike.
I can't
We
even
need
play
to play
this.
this, guys. My mission until this checkbox is ticked. I can't go over here with you. We got to get this done. Damn it! It took too long. Now we're done, and I don't remember. I was talking about the filters on things. Isn't that kind of surprising that they don't have some sort of filter system in place in most of these streaming services? I thought even to be able to buy on DVD, it comes with the unrated and the PG version or whatever. It's just surprising to me because they did the edits already. You already have TV edits of so many movies. I want both. I'd absolutely watch both. Just like the unrated, that's fun to watch. Although a lot of times they're worse because they edit them different. Like Dodgeball unrated, so much worse than the actual theatrical release. But if the PG version would be funny.
Wait. Dodgeball unrated?
Yeah.
What?
Took all.
I've seen Dodgeball. I'm not being over dramatic here. Over 30 times. well over 30 times. Well, I saw it like 7 times when it came out in theaters.
Nice.
There's an unrated version?
Yes, there's an unrated version. I know it's because we frequent the Goodwill. DVD. And for $1, I'll try almost anything there. And they have an unrated version. It's widescreen too, which is nice. But I'm watching it and I'm like 20 minutes in, I'm like, why have I not laughed yet? This is weird. And what they did is for every single or almost every single scene, they did alternate takes. And some of the lighting is a little bit off. Some of the audio isn't quite as clear. The jokes aren't as funny. It's like they took all the best material for the actual theatrical release, and this was just sort of like scraps. It's worth watching in the sense of how odd it is. Because usually the unrated version is the theatrical version, and then they add in some extra jokes that are like too crude or whatnot. But this one, it was odd. So I'm surprised that they don't have a PG version.
So Johnny Douglas mentioned about they were going to have a Dragonlance TV show, and Joe was going to be in charge of it. And Kahuna mentions it. I guess the excuse was it was something that wouldn't transfer to the new streaming service system or whatever. I'm like, that sounds like a BS excuse.
It's a cop out.
Oh,
yeah. And what it is it's Joe cares a lot about that shit, and it would have been a Henry Cavill moment. Yeah. That's what it was. That's what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Joe cares.
Can we make this character black? And
Joe would be like, no. Joe would be like, no, you're fired.
Like,
get out. Bring in Tracy Hickman. Send Tracy back in.
Getting fired and stuff. King Bob says Angel Studios, who was behind what was that movie they did with Jim Caviezel recently? They go after the traffickers in South America or whatnot.
Passion of the
Christ. I hope the sequel they just go to like Hollywood.
Serpica? Or
no, it was out in theaters and it had a budget of like nothing and it made a bunch of money and the press refused to acknowledge its existence.
I know what you're talking about. Something Freedom.
Step Up.
Yeah, that one. So
to the streets.
Step Up 5. That's right. They wouldn't acknowledge.
Henry.
They did that editing system and they got sued into oblivion where you could click on a movie and be like, what version do you want? And you could do like PG. And I guess he said they got sued into oblivion. So if that's accurate information, then I mean, it doesn't surprise me on some level. But
you're totally right about them going the other way, Evely. They'll go unrated shamelessly. Why not the other way, where it actually makes your audience broader? Everybody knows that the lower your rating is, like rated G movies have the largest audience because kids can see it. Yeah,
you can take the whole family. Yeah.
So I think you're onto something there. It's $1 million idea. But maybe like the system is holding it back because that's not the goal. The goal isn't to wholesomeize everything; it's to corrupt everything. I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's like the stories that go into like the Winnie the Pooh and all that, where it's always like Winnie Pooh the Satanist, or like
Abraham Lincoln,
Human
Vampire
Worshiper.
Slayer.
That was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. What are you talking about?
And his life wasn't exactly like, wholesome and great, but they always take like childhood shows and make them super dark. And people are like, that wouldn't work. If you took something dark and then flipped that on its head in the opposite direction, like that wouldn't work. I'm like, can we at least try? I'm sure if you have the good enough writers, you can figure out a way to make a like dark, terrible story kind of entertaining and fun. But
I currently, Mr. Mrs. Doubtfire, holy crap, that would be, oh my god, dude. Modern.
If I'll do it today. Serious actor, if he was a serious actor, he would have went through all the physical.
Yes,
he's not a real actor.
I was just gonna say the modern
control.
The modern version would show the surgery.
No, don't reel that back in. I know where you're heading, and we all get it. And I think this is gonna be an implied joke versus an explicit joke. I think
this is implied versus this is telling versus showing. Bets. You gotta like tell in this case.
I want to say it.
Dude, I know you want to say it.
Oh my god! Do you want to talk about the Wheel of Time show?
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even bother watching that.
My wife watched it before she read the books, and she was like, I like some of the ideas. The show wasn't very good. And then she read the books, and she was like, oh my lord, what did they do to these? This series?
It's a massacre.
What in the world?
Is it like Aragon? Where it's like
worse.
Okay.
Like,
because Aragon, it still kind of looked like Aragon, just a little bit, like what you would imagine.
It's almost
kinda.
like comical. Like they come from like the most diverse, like in the show. It's like the most diverse town you could ever imagine, and getting attacked by bugs. I don't even know if it's better than Rings of Power. I think it might be worse than Rings of Power. It just doesn't have the same attention as Rings of Power. But. So. Yeah, no. So like the most diverse town ever, right? And like a big part in the books was that like one of these characters that's really old, he notices the main character. He's like, "Oh, you have these feats that kind of seem like they're from this like completely other town," which would then like hint off that his father, he's not born from the town that he thinks he's born from. That there's more to his past, right? And I'm like, well, they got to take that out of here, right? Because like. There's an Indian woman, there's a black woman, there's Asian people, there's white people come from the same town. How the fuck are you going to tell who's from where? And no shit, they still stick that scene in there, which they've taken, and it's like a half like human lion person, and they turned into like a black lion guy with like dreads. Like it's so bad. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you have these features, and I could tell you're not from this place." It's like, how
they said that out loud? They said that out loud?
Yeah.
Is that you don't? Okay,
well, it's from the book, but it doesn't make sense if everyone looks so different.
Yeah,
when you're looking at them from the casting.
Yeah. There's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason things are cast a certain way. Like even when there's nothing but vanilla faces on screen, there's like typically a good reason for it. Like it's a medieval faces. Yeah.
Because I think like in particular, it was like, I don't remember if it was like his eye color, his hair color was like different. It wasn't like anyone else in the town. But again, in the show, it's like everyone couldn't look any more different from anyone else possible. But yeah.
And people, I'm sorry, some people look the same in real life. Like there's that whole thing where we have like a handful of doppelgangers. Like everybody has somebody that's almost identical to them walking around right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Me too. That's a fact. So, but yeah.
Wheel of Time is bad. The show.
I heard what really bugged me was when that shit first came out. I knew how bad it was. Like I looked into it because I was curious. It's Amazon show too. They had some other stuff coming down.
Yeah, had a massive budget. Yeah.
Yep. And then Sanderson endorsed. Like Sanderson was like cool with it at first.
Well,
I mean,
isn't that where Sanderson kind of made a name for himself too, or was he already established?
Well, yeah. From the books. Yeah, he got chosen to finish the series. Like he had like a whole thing of notes.
Apparently, they were great.
Yeah, he didn't really like endorse it. He just like, I mean, he did. Look, he did a review with it actually with Daniel Green, and there's like a great edit of it where he just tears the show apart.
Good.
Like he doesn't like tear it apart. Like he does it very like professionally, but he's just like
good.
Well,
that's what we need.
They're talking about like season 2, and they basically do, like for example, there's a scene where a guy's supposed to show like his swordsmanship that he's trained throughout the time, and like this is the scene to show that he's grown, he's come so far, and he's going to beat this other sword master. But instead, they literally go for like an Indiana Jones shooting style with his like just magic powers. Just one hits him. It's like, oh, you just totally ruined the scene and everything about it for something that like looks cool for like a 2-second TikTok, you know?
Not worth destroying lore. That is never worth destroying lore. Like especially if you're doing a TV show, you have an entire fucking TV show ahead of you. Why are you hung up on this moment, right? Like, dude, speaking of changes, like I was saying earlier about the Thrones folks deleting a character, like this is a character that like falls in love with one of the literal protagonists of the story that's being told. And not only that, is like the only person to ever like tame an actual wild dragon.
Yeah.
And she does it like the old fashioned way by like bringing it mutton and like, you know what I mean? Like training a wolf, you know what I mean? And it's just such a cool backstory. She's actually written into the story as a person of color, literally described as a little brown like woman. And you mean this show that is so proud of its diversity, where it like skin swapped for like, you know, an entire family line just to have the special people also be like inclusive, right? You're telling me that those people are going to delete the African looking lady that's actually very important to the story? And if the rumors are to be believed, it's to prop up a different person of color on the cast that's been there this whole time, that got her dragon stolen from the mean white man. So she needs to get her revenge, I'm sure, is what they're going for.
It's got to be hard for the people writing these shows, though, because as has been revealed over the past months, they have a checklist of things they must do. And so you have a story, and like the story's good, and they're like, no, you need to fix it and do all these different things. Like,
so I would push back on that.
Work?
And it's like listening to Sanderson is a great way to say that, to kind of get this idea of how it kind of works, right? Because the writers are behind it. Like they're all for this. Like, oh, you want us to put more like black people? You want us to put more Asian people? And yeah, go for it.
A lot of them, yeah.
Oh yeah, most of them, right? I mean, they push for the Writers Guild protests and stuff like that. And like Tim McKay said, like Sanderson was a consultant, all right. And the dude who finished the books, like literally would tell him, like, you can't do this. Like this is not gonna work thematically. The number one writer, like probably the best writer of our generation, is telling these people that this is not going to work thematically or whatever in some story structure. And they're like, no. It just works different for TV. And
we know better than you.
Yeah, we know better than you. And the show is completely failing. It's like the audacity for you to think that you could write a better story. It doesn't matter that it's a different format. The formats don't make that much of a difference. Is it different? Yes. That much of a difference? No.
No.
Listen to Sanderson.
Bro, I have the first Game of Thrones book in comic book form. Found them, by the way, people, avid readers out there, all you gay men that read books, not the straight ones. We know straight men don't read, but if you want a good deal on like mainstream comics and stuff, go to like thrift stores, like for real. Like go on Amazon, you can type in used books. They're like all $5 to $10 at most for like graphic novels. So anyway, I got all 4 of them because it takes fucking 4 graphic novels over 100 pages to convert an actual novel, like full length fantasy novel. And when you read through it, it is like scene for scene. They cared about accuracy from book to comic. Okay, there's some stuff that gets cut away, but it's not that important. It is literally throwaway lines that's kind of like filler descriptions and stuff like that, because it just doesn't make sense to put everything into the comic. You know, it's already over 400 pages, right? So
that's a serious comic.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd assume that there's some that gets lost from comic to movie or TV show too, but it should be in the same vein where it's like literally things that you can cut, like just little in between descriptions, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. But to completely change it all through a hubristic like mindset like that's just saying is just not the way.
Yeah. So I suggest I tried to transition to this earlier, but since you mentioned no straight men reading, Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about romantasy because I didn't want to bring this up, right? I think like romantasy covers about like 80% or of like readers right now.
Is that right?
Something like that. I might have that stat completely off, but it's something insane, right? And look, and this goes a little bit into the other topics because women read their porn. They don't watch their porn; they read their porn.
Oh yeah,
and
what was
porn
it?
Is a very profitable thing. So
yeah, that the 50 Shades book. What did it sell? Like quadrillion copies.
Insane numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I wish Kahuna was here because we talked. You know, we
and
both
you have like these people sitting at like the pool, sitting there just reading it on their chair. I'm like, it's like they're not reading what they're reading. I'm like, really? You don't read that in like privacy or something? All right. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I will say, like, generally speaking, you always see women like reading more in public or something like that on a train or something like that than you would a man. But again, you know, in John's video, like he brought this up. There's not really, the publishing companies are failing us. They're not pushing books that are targeted for men. I think that is a big part of it. I think if there was a big push, a big advertising push for like men-oriented books, or you know, if that men being the target audience of that book, like I feel like we'd have an uptick of men reading. But yeah, I think the only thing that's like really advertised for books or even suggested by people is just smut.
Yeah, the advertising is the huge part because I mean, we can go to there's a whole bunch of different routes we can go to here. You can start with the agents, like that anybody can look up on X right now. Just type in what is it called? There's a special term for it, but agents have like a wish list, a things I'm looking for list, and you can just like type in the hashtag, go down the line and see everything that they're promoting, right? And these are the people that they hire, and so everything else is suppressed. You know what I mean? And that includes like on Amazon too. Like there's a reason they ask you a bunch of questions, and like they could even just suppress genres. You know what I mean? Because like if an already popular person, like a huge YouTuber, for example, is selling the books, or if somebody else who, like, for example, it's like their secondary gig, like they're a CEO or like an actual legit business owner, and they decide to write a book on the side. Of course, these types of people are going to get like unlimited promotion, essentially.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I digress. But it's like the little guy like us, we type in our little genre. And even if we're promoting our asses off, there's just a certain level of it that's probably just doesn't get pushed to the surface or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, okay, the article is why straight men don't read novels. If I'm reading a nonfiction book, is it not considered a novel? Because that's the big. It is not.
Wait. What? Ask the question again. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know how many words make a novel. 180 pages or what, but 60,000 words or whatever the metric is.
So like 60,000 words.
Okay. So if I'm reading a novel and this novel is nonfiction, is it still a novel or is it something else at that point?
Oh, nonfiction?
Yeah. Because that's the big gap here.
I don't really know. Yeah, I guess we do probably see men reading a lot of like self-help books and stuff like that.
I only read various nonfiction for basically once I got out of school where they required us to read fiction, I stopped and just read nonfiction on whatever topics I was interested in. But to me, I'm like, that's still a book, damn it. That still counts. And the article is why men don't read. I'm like, we read constantly. We're just not reading fiction. Now, I think John did a great job explaining why fiction isn't as read as frequently, but I think, I don't know, at least for me, I'm into fiction again. But
we're talking Iron Age stuff, right? So I mean, for us, it's like,
well, we do have an Iron Age nonfiction author here amongst us, I believe, right?
Ooh.
And Brian McCoppin with his
but that's not it's not any book he promotes.
From hell, was it?
He doesn't need to. That's the thing. So many men are buying it. He doesn't need to promote it.
I'm going to buy it soon.
I know. I am curious. I'm like, why is it the bestseller? Do I need to learn about?
They're clearly all gay men. They're clearly all gay.
Yeah, that's based on this. And the thing is too, is it just brilliant writing on the part of this author to be like, this is gonna be clickbait and just throw it out there. And now we're taking it. Or
no, I think there's a little a little truth behind the statement. But like I said, it's the failure of the publishing company, and I think they like. I remember John mentioning that the Fourth Wing was brought up as the example of what is being read. And yeah, that's a targeted to women. Like that's not targeted to any guy at all, and it's half its smut.
Yeah. I think I'm willing to bet that there's actually, and don't get me wrong, this is conjecture here, but I have a hunch that most guys actually don't really care about the sex scenes. Most guys, you know what I mean? Because I haven't.
Age matters a lot there. I think if you're a young man, you're like, yeah, I want it. But I think once you get
I don't think young guys care about sex scenes in books, though. I think in a movie or something like that. Like I just think men in general don't give a shit about sex scenes in books.
I've never read a sex scene in a book, to my knowledge. I've never seen it. I imagine how it must be to describe, and I'm like, this just it comes like.
From what I've heard of the industry, it's like that you're almost always recommended to write some kind of smut into your story to capture that audience. And it's not even like so I've read Fourth Wing. It's not even like there's that much smut in it. It's like the sex gets mentioned a few times, like randomly, and then there's like one, maybe two sex scenes, and that's it. And it's a pretty decently chunky book. Send a copy of Fourth Wing, Justin. Yes. It's what was it? Wrath of Dragons. That was a book that I read out of a recommendation from Daniel Green, and I was not digging that book at all. And then like after all this, there's just this random sex scene that's described, and he's just very detailed. It just felt like oh, people put sex scenes in the book, so I'm going to put one too. And it's just like, what am I reading?
Yeah, what is
awkward.
When you mentioned
Song of Ice and Fire, the sex scene's written in that. Like how awkward it is,
a lot of that is Roy Dutrice reading it. But to be fair,
but like I can't help but like imagine George R.R. Martin being like, and then he touched her quivering pussy with
is that really what it reads like?
Worse, way worse. I'm trying to tone it down. Like I'd be listening to on my way to work, and then next thing you know, it's like somebody's having sex with somebody, and I'm like,
yeah. Because Roy Dutrice is like, my titties. Yeah.
No, really old guy, like great voice, really old British guy reading the entire book. So like even when you get like the little girl perspective characters of Arya, like he's doing that to the women.
I think it's stupid.
I'm Arya Stark, and I'm here to serve you with.
I love it though. To be fair,
I just got a good idea for a book for somebody out there. If you can film a video, which it wouldn't be that hard. A guy, he's got his windows down. He's like listening to a book on tape, and he knows all the words. And he's like saying it along with it, and doing all like the inflections. And he gets to the traffic light, and he's like, one guy's listening to Lane Book, and he puts the windows up, and he's like saying it quietly to himself, like Office Space. But then the other guy's in like the cool car, and he pulls up. And he's got the bass on the voice real high, and he's like saying the book, and he looks over, and there's like a Corvette of Megan Fox's, to 5 of them in the same car, and they're like, "What book is that?" And then it's like, and then it advertises the book.
Yeah, that's a lit idea. Good idea.
I believe King Bob in the chat right now is trying to save your purity, Emily.
I just don't like these things. It's not that I've never been exposed to them. Well, actually, I've never read them, but I mean,
that's why he's created his dome of purity that he's in right now.
A lot of darkness in my body, which is why I avoided.
I will give Martin and that whole series a little credit. There's the awkward sex scenes with like the conversations after, like, do all lords in the castle kiss their ladies down there? And stuff like that. But at the same time, you have like stuff like the alchemical wedding, where like Daenerys, like every hair on her body is singed away, and she's like she was pregnant, so like she's got like mother's milk coming
naked,
out. And, it's like fun. A crazy scene. Yeah.
But I don't need the image of George R.R. with his buffalo wings, just like and so Daenerys, stop for a second.
No. Tyrion's girlfriend. Tyrion's girlfriend saying "my titties" over and over again. That was too much. That was too much.
1 second, guys. I'm gonna need a second.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
get
takes
you
a
the
break.
hat because that impression is just too amazing.
Oh,
You need
then
to get the hat.
Cersei
This should be a
stepped
regular
in.
character.
Oh, even got even hotter.
This is
For
like,
some reason, it
South
reminds me of
Park.
South Park.
Oh, yeah.
Did you just say? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
South
yeah,
Park. Yeah.
yeah.
It's those crazy scenes in South Park. Those crazy scenes in South Park where they're like shitting all over each other, or like they're like, oh, the Indiana Jones skit.
Oh,
Do you
that
remember
was so bad.
It was so
That
bad.
was the
And,
worst. Yeah.
but I'm glad they did it. I'm
Dude,
glad
they were
so
talking
to,
early on that. They were so early.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like we were like, what the fuck? Like that was like intense. Like you raped.
Yeah,
raped your
but
childhood.
they saw
then-
it coming.
And
They
that
saw
was
it
like
coming.
10 years ago.
Oh
That was
yeah,
like
South
over 10
Park
years
is
ago.
man. That show, if you go back and watch it too, it's just like, man,
They knew about
holds up and it's so
decentralization.
sick. My favorite things about that show, they hit all sides.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah.
until about 3 years ago when they stopped, but leading
Well,
up to
there's-
that, they
I
hit
think
all
there was
sides.
like 1 year where they chilled on one side.
I'm pretty sure
then-
they were on a flight log, and once that blew up, they kind of toned it down. That's where my
Yeah.
theory's at until they changed their course.
No, they went right back to it though. Like it was like
There's
one. It was
certain
literally
characters they've never touched, still haven't touched.
Interesting.
like what?
Certain presidential figures and certain vice presidential. Now
No, they
presidential.
made fun of
Ah.
Biden.
Have they?
I mean, they had
Hmm,
Mr. Garrison as Trump for an entire season and a
That's
half,
true.
which
that's
was
true.
hilarious. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but I was like, "Ah, dude, I can't wait till Mr. Garrison is then Biden."
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
no, we
Yeah, but
can't. We
Mr. Garrison Biden.
They're
By
gonna have to do
itself,
Kamala.
hilarious.
But
They're
they've
gonna
been
have to.
making
Or have
fun of
Mr.
this stuff
Mackey
pretty
be
bad.
Biden. Like just keep
Oh.
rolling with the theme would be.
Ma-
good.
Dude, I
Mackey?
guarantee,
Okay.
I guarantee this season is going to be because like we've had the worst Bidenisms
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
So like they're definitely going to hit it this time. But
As
like
the
they've been very
assassination-
They've
consistent
had
with hitting.
4 years. Haven't touched it.
Yeah, that's true too,
Ah,
Evelyn.
I think they were on a flight long. That's
Yeah,
all.
but what do they have to write? What do they have to write? I mean, like, dude's been
No,
like
that's a cop out. Come
non-existent
on, these
the
guys are
entire
comedic
time.
geniuses. They could write so they're always funny. No matter what you give them, they're funny.
Yeah.
They've never
That's true.
not really ever just like that South Park was just okay. Like most of them are hilarious. I think they
looking-
just use it as a cop out. They're like, oh,
I'm looking forward to the Kamala.
prove me wrong.
impression.
I'm fine to be proven wrong, but this is where I'm standing right now.
Yeah.
I'll go back on this. You'd be like, do you remember episode 18? You said that. Now they're doing. I'm like, you're right, and I was wrong, and that's fine. I'm happy.
It's not that hard
They
to-
did a missing ballots episode 3 years ago.
Which one?
Oh shit.
I don't
Did it
know.
what?
They did where are the missing ballots like 3 years ago?
Missing pilots?
Ballots. Election rigging.
Yeah, that's not a certain presidential figure. And
Yeah,
they-
both
Have
of
they
them.
not really done Joe Biden besides
think
the
they have.
debate?
They said
don't
that
think they
he
have.
was not like the jokes are too obvious, so it's not funny.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
But Trump is not too obvious. Okay.
I know, right? I got like
But
4
their
years of
COVID
material,
stuff
my guy.
and Disney
Their
with
COVID
the bat, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah,
the
that- I mean, she was
pangolin.
funny.
The pangolin. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that it was. Yeah. it was funny. It was funny. Don't get me wrong. But
I
there's
know,
certain
I
things they don't
could-
touch, which
For a defense,
You're right.
I will say, like, just having Biden just being like, oh, yeah, I moved my parents, and like that only being the joke. Like,
Steamy
that's it.
Nicks. He could be the new Steamy Nicks. Like, sorry, Joe, you're done here. He's like, well, I'm
Steamy
gonna need a
Nicks.
career. See,
Okay.
look, do that. I'm not even those guys.
maybe
He just
maybe
shits
I'm
his
being a
britches.
little favoritism here, right?
Yeah, he just
he
shits
could
his
absolutely
britches.
do something. He could be
They got a
serving
man-
ice cream in town. Like that's his new job. He's
Oh
just the
my
ice cream guy
God,
now,
dude.
and he's like going after Ike. Like it could be.
Oh my God.
Sure. See, it's like there's stuff there. It's fine.
Yeah. That's fucking brilliant, dude.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, you're right.
There's a presidential
You're right.
candidate that just gets on stage and then he just shits his britches. He shits his britches. He just shits them britches.
And he,
I
and
know.
Them poor
he's
britches.
at the Trump rally and he does God bless America, but instead of that dude, it's Biden. He's farting, playing the song. Or whatever. Like, there's
Will they
something
be
here.
redeemed? Will they be redeemed if they show Biden and maybe Kamala too, just completely behind the like an assassination of Trump?
Oh my
in an
gosh.
episode? That like would that not be redeemed?
Yeah, if they make the jokes, I'm back on board. But I'm like,
Yeah.
it's been 4 years, and you guys have like, you're gonna go at Trump that hard for a season and a half, which was funny. I enjoyed it. Swing back the other way, and they've always done a good job at hitting all sides. I mean,
Yeah.
God, man, some of the stuff they did about like Jesus in the early seasons, I was like, wow. But then they get to other topics and they hit those just as hard. I was like, okay, I'm fine with it then. They're hitting everybody. That's cool. Once they got to this, they kind of like, it's like, come on. After some of the jokes you guys have done, you can do something here. So yeah, I would love for them to come back around. The show's still funny. If you go back and watch the old episodes, I was watching a couple weeks ago, and it was like I woke up in the middle of the night and they had Kanye West. That episode where he was with
Wait, we lost our boy.
One thing I gotta say, man, with Kahuna in real life, dude, that kid is so fast. He's like your wife too, man. Between the two of them, it was like with a Ritchie film. Like somebody had the dialogue already planned out and they had rehearsed it. It was just like,
oh yeah. My
just
wife
whatever the topic is, I'm like, oh, I need to think of. And while I'm like thinking of something funny, either one of them was already.
Well, you can see her like brain processing. She's just like, where do I go? Where do
I? They're so quick. Yeah, hilarious. I see them going back and forth in the chat. Just reminded me of that.
Yeah. A bunch of tism tards. Yeah, maybe I'll put her on the bus. I got a great picture. You know what picture I'm talking about, Caroline?
Oh,
it's from her band uniform.
Nice.
Yeah, she's probably gonna come down here and hit me.
Please, that's always.
But
Sea Wife barbecue. There we go.
Sea Wives only. Yeah, I mean, so romanticities. I need to get back on that. Yeah, but I mean, as you mentioned, like fiction, like or nonfiction, yeah, like I don't think there's really too much of a problem in that field. But the nonfiction, yeah, and it's romanticities, and that's pretty much all that's selling. And,
okay,
yeah.
So how do you get the guys back into it then? Is the indie scene, the Iron Age catering to men more so, obviously more so than trad, but are they doing a good enough job, or what is it that they're doing differently? Because obviously this is a man-dominated area.
Yeah.
Wording's not great.
But. Well, I say so. It's just like, yeah, I think all of these, majority of the Iron Age content is directed towards a male audience. Like I haven't read R.H. Snow stuff yet. I intend to, but from what I heard, it seems more targeted to a male audience. But you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with that. But
no, it seems like I've heard guys and girls that have read it have enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, when something's targeted to a gendered audience, it's not saying that like both genders can't enjoy it.
Sure.
It's just saying it's like, look, so my wife generally likes what I like, but it's stuff that's more targeted to males. Is my wife a male? No. She's a woman. So, but
thank you for that double clarification.
Right?
The first time we weren't sure.
Yeah. It's that percentage thing, right? She's in that lower percentage of women that enjoy the same, stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So what is, I guess this is something that John's video hit on too, and I think it's worth mentioning here. What is it that somebody like, when you say a male targeted book like R.H. Snow, or what the books that are coming out of the Iron Age and this whole indie movement, what is it that they are doing differently than trad publishing? I know you guys are reading actually, no, you're not reading a trad book. But what is it that this scene is doing differently that's getting guys to be like, hey, I'm going to read nonfiction for the first time in 20-something years?
It's because all the publishing company is supposed to do is push the stuff out to the audiences, right? And then the audiences will naturally grab onto what's there. And it's like that's why it's really good to refer to these things as streams, right? Mainstream, right? So it's like, yeah, like if you got a big stream, we're gonna go in there and kind of pick out the fish, right? So when these publishing companies would do what they're supposed to do and just push stuff targeted to both genders like they should, well, the men would come out and start grabbing because they're at the stream, they're looking, and that's why really all the F&T content's doing really well because they're going to the mainstream and they're just like, ew, all these fishes are just poison. I don't like any of this. So then they start to go over to like this tiny little lake over, with people shitting on it, right? And we can hope maybe some of them will go even to the small streams of indie and maybe pick some stuff out of there. Just they can't really find those streams. You know what I'm saying? Catch my drift? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know where like the hate channels like F&T where they come into this analogy, but they're in there somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be a matter of time before I feel like it's getting to the point that mainstream culture stream is starting to maybe hit a bend where they will go back to providing content that dudes and people traditionally like. And it feels like such a missed opportunity because there is a scene, and it's not to say that nobody's doing this. I mean, obviously, I got my hat on here. I feel like these guys are trying to cater to us and this book right here, talking about people that are promoting this. I mean, they see that there's an opening here and they're trying to reach out and create content that people can enjoy. That's more like just what we want, just like dude stuff, like, tough guys and doing cool stuff. And, maybe not Megan Foxes, but likable muscle mommies or whatever.
Well, we're about to see Deadpool and Wolverine about to make bank from a male audience. Majority male audience, right? It's about to bank, right? That's because it's not because what all these Marvel movies I've been feeling are ones just trying to push like a content that's produced for a female audience. And so again, the male dominated audience that typically see Marvel stuff are rejecting it, but they're not going to reject Deadpool and Wolverine. So they just bring out the fish that are like, it's like Disney itself is its own stream, right? And it's like all their like they only have males that go to the stream, and there's food that only the female bears like, and none of the male bears like that fish, and so they're not grabbing any. As soon as they send Deadpool and Wolverine, all the bears are going to start going grabbing and eating out of that stream again.
It's low hanging fruit. It's like laziness. They don't actually want to pursue good storytelling because they don't care. It's the same reason people just buy Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like Pepsi and Coca-Cola are in no danger of going out of business. In fact, Pepsi had a military at one point, I believe. So, I mean, there you go.
Holy crap.
I wouldn't doubt it, yeah.
Russia traded them a bunch of Pepsi for submarines.
What in the world? I gotta look that story up.
Do it. Russia also loves American peanut butter because they just weren't allowed to have it. Oh, so there's just a fuckload of peanut. Yeah,
that was in Stranger Things. Yeah, that was like a story, a plot point.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
in the fourth season of that. Are you guys interested at all in seeing Deadpool, Wolverine? Where do you guys sit on that? I know.
I honestly I would go see it if it wasn't for the fact that I got my kid. It's just really difficult to go to the theater. I honestly would want to see it because it looks like they are no shit or desperate and have to actually produce a good movie this time.
It's funny, man. I wasn't that interested in it until I saw that Blake Lively is Lady Deadpool.
I think that's still a rumor. I don't know. If that's confirmed.
Thought it was confirmed.
I don't know.
All right, I'm on the fence.
It'd be good if they do, but
yeah, Hugh Jackman. I'm like, whatever, dude. He was in that sing-songy, dancey movie. I'm like, not my Wolverine.
Well, Hugh also said he didn't want to ever do Wolverine again, unless he said I'll do it if I can do it with the actor that plays Picard. Forgot his name.
And then did he also say?
Well, he's also he also likes money. And
exactly.
he also is really good friends with. I think he's real friends with Ryan Reynolds, and I think Ryan Reynolds probably trying to convince him for ever. Because Deadpool was always a Ryan Reynolds passion project. I mean, if you remember how it originally started from a YouTube video with test footage that got rejected by the companies, they released it. It blew up on YouTube, and then basically they're like, "All right, cool. I guess we'll produce it, give you some money to produce a movie." And so Deadpool 1 was a cheap movie that they produced, and it was wildly successful. It was really good.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2 was okay.
I never
but it
saw
wasn't.
the second one. I thought the first one was all right.
Oh well, yeah, that's your opinion. But
Yeah.
but no, I mean, the second one wasn't terrible, essentially. So it's like, there's no ill will towards Ryan Reynolds right now, and there's no ill will towards what's his name plays Logan.
Hugh Jackman, aside
yeah.
from Greatest Showman.
Right. I don't like that movie. All right,
I hate
yeah.
that movie, dude.
It's terrible movie.
It's worse than terrible. It's
Have you guys seen The Magician?
You mean the it wasn't
Am I
called The
thinking of the
Magician.
right? I know what you're
two
talking
that came
about.
out at the same time. One was Christian Bale and one was him. The Illusionist, maybe.
The Illusionist, yes.
And then
that's a good one.
The Prestige was the other
Yeah.
one. Yes, I enjoyed both of those.
Both are good. I think The Prestige is what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Was the Prestige Christian Bale? Was one of them.
It might have been.
Both good movies. One of them has Hugh Jackman. I will say the thing that is intriguing me about this movie, because as I stated, I thought Deadpool 1 was fine. I saw it in theaters. Second one, I saw some of the casting. I'm like, what are they doing? And I was like, noped out. But if it is Blake Lively, that might be the thing that gets me over the line, because I'm looking at him. Because what's his face? But why? And the fact that you said that is the gif with the guy whose name escapes me, Van Wilder. What's his real name?
Yeah.
Why? Chocolatey lips. Van Wilder, because he's married to her in real life, and so I'm like, that's really cool if he got his wife, who's also an actress, to be in the movie, and they're gonna have like this husband-wife thing. If that's part of the story, that's interesting to me. And in general, I like him. Most of his movies he's done, I can't think of a movie he's done where he was not likable. And I mean, for being Canadian, he's just like, he just acts and he just does his thing, and he just seems like a likable guy. I don't know his politics, which means he's not out there espousing ridiculous stuff, making me not want to go see his movies. And if they have I don't know, they have like a husband and wife thing going on, I'm like, that's appealing to me. So I'd be interested in checking that out. Because to me, that means maybe it's not just going to be crude all the time or excessive all the time. They might have something else to it. But I don't know. I'm half curious to see it. Plus, I mean, I really like going to movies, and you can get a matinee ticket. People talk about it's like $90 to go to the movies. It's not. At least where I'm at, and I live near major metropolises and all that kind of junk. I think tickets are $9 a piece. Popcorn's a little expensive, but it's not $70 to go see a movie like I hear some people say. I think they live in like California or something. But
it's pretty expensive, man. It's pretty expensive.
I don't know. I think it's, if you don't get popcorn and that stuff, you just go to see the movie. $20.
Yeah, but you gotta get, like, come on, man, you gotta get popcorn. And the popcorn costs them like 25 cents per bucket to produce. Like,
well, yeah, I mean it's but $10 for a bucket, but you can always bring your own.
It's just it's an easy $40 to go with you and your wife if you get popcorn. It's like easy $40, and that's insane to spend on one night for a movie. Like, come on.
I don't know. But anyways,
that's true. That's what you're saying, Bats, is 100% true. But it's also like a cultural thing. Fares are expensive too, all this stuff, and it's we've learned that like as this stuff fades away, it has repercussions. It sucks. Like it is nice to have like a community thing where we're all sitting next to strangers and stuff, and we're all able to like just enjoy the same thing. I don't know.
I will say too, the experience has changed a lot too. Like our local theater, they have recliners and all that stuff. They didn't have them when we were kids. It was like garbage chairs and sticky floors, and now it's like
they're just too late though. They're too late. Like the
theaters
are going to die. I don't know when it's going to happen. But after Deadpool and Wolverine, like, there ain't anything coming out. And it's like it was so few and far between all these movies that are worth watching. And it's like, yo, like, how are you guys making money? Like, how long can you like do this for until you all have to claim bankruptcy? And then I'm going to wonder how many like restaurants are going to be produced, like built into these leftover movie theaters.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do with the space?
The thing that was cool was I saw some movie theaters started doing. It was before lockdowns. Lockdowns jacked up everything. At least in this state, it was like locked down. But it used to be that movie theaters turned into this experience of you go there, there's like a bar, you hang out, you're talking to people, they got music playing, people are dressing nicely because they're meeting people there. And it was, you hang out at the bar for a while and somebody shows up, it's like, hey, you want to catch a movie? What's playing?
yeah.
That kind of thing. And so it was cool.
Oh,
It was like a bar scene. They'd have live bands sometimes, like playing over there. You know, they bring in the buskers or what have you and do that. And you catch a movie, but it was like a club. And it was different kind of places. People could do different things and then catch a movie while you're there. It was really cool, but then lockdowns hit. Yeah.
Sorry, the chat's blowing up on me for
I can see.
$40 too much for a date. Well, what about spending $40 on me? Huh? Nobody ever suggests that.
No.
All right? So have a little bit of gender equality here. And think about the man for once, all right? I'm tired of this. Sexist. Chat's all sexist.
What do you guys think of? Do you guys think it's rude for a dude to ask 50-50 on the first date, or do you think he's just establishing boundaries and trying to see if the woman is willing to pull her weight?
I think that's saying I can't provide for you. That's how I would.
It's one of those things. It should be that way, but it's not. So just pay for it.
It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
But when you get really down to it, though, you're right. It should be that way. And a lot of dudes, like, I could see that being a good like test. Like, are you down? You know what I mean? Are you gonna like, let's go? You know what I mean? I'm not saying pull your own weight financially, but like,
yeah, I would
tell
like, any guy
are they willing to step up?
Expect to go 50-50. Just try to pay for it.
Oh yeah, no, same. I'm the same. I'm not like the guy that's gonna like do it. But like, I heard somebody talking about this today, and it actually was a pretty based point. You know, he was saying that like, it's like a test. Like, are you gonna just like, how do you view me? Do you want to just be served, or do you want to like be a partnership? And I can get that if a guy is thinking that way. Same with a girl too, you know. But it's almost like when they step forward and insist on paying, you almost have to do it in a feminine way. Because like you were saying, Bats, earlier, when girls have bigger muscles than dudes, it rubs them a certain way. You know what I mean?
I'm old school in most things. I'm like, yeah, probably born too late generally for my worldviews and everything else. I'm like, of course the man should pay. Oh, of course, and she should make the muscles over muscles. That's like my name. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if she has muscles,
can she lift? Who cares? Can she cook? You
know? Can she cook?
What if this new rule? Whoever has bigger muscles pays.
There you go. Yes, Queen. Yes. No, because they're also expected to protect both of you when the time comes, right?
That's
like the person with the bigger muscles.
That's a great take.
I like that.
That's good.
No, but yeah, it does show that like the dude can take care of the person. I'm right there with you, Justin. I don't mind doing it, but I think a lot of people run away with it where it's just flat out expected. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
oh, you're the dude, right?
Yeah, there are people that take advantage of other people, and you can kind of, to me, it's like you pay to dodge a landmine. In that case, like, how's this going? You're like, oh, I got it. And if it's like, oh, and the vibe sucks, and she's still expecting you to pay just because like you're the man, it's like, oh, okay, you just took advantage of the fact I was paying for this.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'd gladly pay $30 or $40 or $50 or whatever to know that like you suck. So we're good here.
Yeah, fair.
Onward.
That's fair.
I don't know. Like I said,
That's
I'm old
fair.
school. I don't know. I feel like
old school is going to be the new school pretty soon. Just saying, like
on some level, yeah, but you know, it's all good. I'm not begrudging people who are like,
that just makes you a beta cuck.
People do what they want, obviously. You know, I got my opinions. It's not like this is the way of the world now. I'm the king of the universe, but it's just my take.
You is the king of the universe.
All right, boys. I think it's we're about an hour and a half. We should call it here. I think we covered our topics pretty well. I will mention John A. Douglas. I think it's still released, premiering or something like that. He's got a Yair video released right now, so I'd probably check that out right after this. But to close this up, what we got going on, guys? I know all of us potentially might want to check out this week's Iron Age Nights. I think we might all be on it, maybe. But there's definitely going to be a big surprise, so I would check it out. There's going to be a little mystery thing that's going to happen. Yeah. Just don't miss it. Don't miss it. you're gonna want to tune in to the Iron Age Nights this week with one of the hosts.
Insider info. All right.
Yes.
Insider
Yes.
info. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Tune into Iron Age Nights. Do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm going to be there or not. I got a thing going on this weekend that starts Friday, and I don't have the schedule yet, so I might be there. I might not be there.
On it then.
What's that?
So one of us needs to be a guest on it then. In that case,
hopefully they have a rotating chair of just different people that were hanging out and can
I'll get if I need to. I'll get Daniel to do it. Whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Like something's gonna happen. We all like to kid on Royce, but all right, guys. AC, you still got a comic project going on?
I do.
Yeah, mention it.
Well, we just hit 10% of our goal. We're closing in on having all variant covers. Official theme song up there. We got an art contest going. If you're into traditional fantasy, I know there's not too many of those like graphic novels floating around. I know I was talking about the Game of Thrones graphic novel earlier and shit, but I mean it's dominated by superheroes. So if you're like a fan of traditional fantasy, D&D, that was talked about tonight too. World of Warcraft, all that stuff, Warhammer, whatever, name it, orcs, Dragonborn, Deep Ones, all that. Then ask your doctor if the World of RK by A.C. Pritchard is right for you, because side effects may include a call to adventure, the masculine urge to breed and sire offspring, and also over 72 pages of masterful art by Luke Stone. Check it out, fundmycomic.com/ASOS.
That was good. That was good. I like that. Side effects may include. Well done. I like that.
Yeah.
I've never heard that angle before. That's good stuff.
Just like going off the top of my head. I don't know what to say.
Were you really? You were winging that?
Yeah. I was just like going. I don't know.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I worked on a song today. Oh, I was working on a song for Calta. Me and my brother are working on a song for Calta for Alan Firedale, which, by the way, if you've never checked out Alan Firedale, we're talking about audiobooks and stuff. Calta does these really cool audiobook stories in the vein talking about old fashioned. They sound like an old 1940s, 1950s radio show, including sound effects from the time period where he does the narration, does all the different voices. He's actually a really good reader. He does a lot of the original score, and his stories are a lot of fun. They're just like, I don't know. They remind me of kind of like 70s entertainment in a way, but working on a song for him. I just finished up one for James Esparza, which is like in the style of a Sum 41. There's supposed to be a video coming out about that is going to be very topical, I guess, with news and things of that nature. So that's coming up as well. And just working on a couple of other tracks as well. Some surprises in the future. Got a couple collabs going on with Chill Kid as well. Busy. So look forward to all of that.
You muted.
That sounds
muted?
awesome.
Oh.
Either way, you've talked.
Hey-o.
Hey, I got a sci-fi book out. It's Dawn Edge, Planet Babel Dawn Edge. Just look up Dawn Edge book. It is a grim, dark story with awesome action. Probably the best action, honestly, from what I've read. It is the best action. Then awesome mysteries. Highly recommend it. But like I said, I am hesitant to recommend it just because of it being grimdark. Like, I know, like, somebody watched something like Berserk. It's too bloody and dark for them. So it's like, yeah, similar with my book. But if you're into that stuff, this is a book to pick up.
Your book? Just your book? No one else's?
My wife, my
yeah, that ties in. We're talking about what's his face and Blake Lively. There you go.
Yeah. So both of us read it. At least just look it up on Amazon and read my little blurb, and make a decision then. But I can guarantee it's worth your time. But either way, guys, that is the end of our show. Another great show. Probably better because Kahuna's not here. I don't know. Oh no, we miss you, Kahuna. You're like a good like 25% of the show.
Talking about implied versus explicit.
But anyways, you guys are about the harsh seas of the Iron Seas. Hail and hail to the Iron Age.